we're doing something a little different today, which is why I'm wearing a different shirt. We have our youngest child, Bethany, here with us, and she's just going to be sharing her perspective as a young caregiver on this stroke recovery journey. I just want to say that this part is completely raw, unscripted. She has no idea what questions I'm going to be asking her. But I'm hoping that you can gain some insight and some encouragement from her perspective. Okay, so why don't we start? Hey, Boo.
Hi.
You know, on the day of Dad's stroke, you and I were together. We were out at the mall running a few errands, and we came home together. So we came home at the same time, and we found Dad at the same time. He was laying down on the kitchen floor right here, where we are sitting right now. But I'm curious, what do you remember from that day?
That day, I still have a really clear picture of that day. But I remember coming in and I was like, Appa, we're home. And then soon after, I'm like, why is he not replying? And then soon after I see him on the floor, I'm like, is he stretching? Genuinely, my question was, is he stretching? Yeah. Like, what is he doing down there?
Because that's what he does, right?
But I did think it was a little bit odd that he was stretching on the kitchen floor. Because if it was, like, it would have been in the living room. But I was like, okay, what? And then I see you soon after, like, in shock and, like, panicked. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this is not a stretch. And then next thing I know, I'm calling 911 on my phone and all that. Yeah.
I just want to say you did an incredible job calling 911.
Oh, thank you.
And I think that was your first time ever calling 911. You got on it right away. You were so clear in your communication, so concise and so polite as well too. You gave her the address, you told her what was going on, and then immediately I had you go unlock the front door and stand at the corner. And you were with us when we went to the ER and we were waiting, and then you went in to go and see Dad. But what was your understanding of a stroke? Like, did you know what a stroke was?
No. Well, the short answer would be no. I didn't know what a stroke was. I believe that's why I was really calm when I was calling 911, because I didn't know the like how severe the situation exactly was. And I also do have a tendency where, like, if the other person is, like, really in shock and, like, are not able to calm themselves down that much, I have a tendency to, like, be the calm one and be like, what's the situation? So I think that's why I was able to, like, call them and, like, in a calm manner. But I had no idea what a stroke was. I thought it was something, I remember in the ER, I thought it was something that, like, he'll be up in a couple hours and tomorrow he'll drive me to Carvel. Or, like, it would just be another regular day tomorrow. Thought it was just like maybe at the maximum 1 day. That's what I thought. I didn't think that it would go on for more than 1 year and change my life and all that. Yeah.
When did you realize, okay, yeah, this is no joke. He's not going to be home in a few hours?
I think I realized it when Jennifer wasn't hungry. So I remember being in the ER and I didn't have lunch because we all didn't have lunch, and I don't think I had breakfast either. And I was so hungry because it was like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and nothing all day. And I'm like, to Jennifer, I'm like, I'm so hungry. She's like, really? I'm not. And I'm like, what? Right? Like, I know this could be, like, taken as a joke, but, like, it kind of hit home then when I was just like, maybe this is more than just a couple hours of us waiting in the ER. Maybe it's more than that. But, yeah, I think that's when I realized that it wasn't a joke. When I realized that it's going to be, like, a lifetime thing is when you told me what the doctor said, that, like, 잘되면 it's going to be months in hospital and years in rehab. And that's when I was like, what? Like, seriously? And I believe that was, like the next day or the couple days after the stroke. And I didn't even have a good idea then either. So that's when it hit me that I was like, okay, this is a difference in life. It's not a difference in the year or the month. It's a difference that's going to be affecting my life. Yeah.
I remember the plan was for Jen and I to go to Vancouver Hospital and for you and Justin to stay home. And I don't know how well you remember this, but I remember this as if it just happened this morning. We were standing at the door, and I remember we were all, hugging and crying and saying goodbye. And I remember it was the day before school started, and I remember I gave you a big hug, and I felt so bad that I wasn't going to be there for your first day of school. And I know Dad would have wanted to be there for your first day of school. Like, us, we would have made a huge big deal out of it. We would have taken pictures and just made it a big family event, right? I remember when I saw you, all of a sudden you looked really big to me. Like, you looked all grown up. And that made me really sad because you're 17 years old. Right? And all of a sudden, in the matter of an hour or two, you all of a sudden had to grow up really, really quickly. And that's, I can't control that. There's nothing I can do about that. But that's also, that's always going to be something that just makes me really sad about that day. The fact that one moment you were a kid, you were 17, getting excited to go to school the next day and start university. And then within an instant, you just became an adult dealing with life and life problems. But yeah. Do you remember that time?
Oh, I do. And when I was telling my stories to friends, I remember specifically telling that story where you were hugging, we were all hugging and being emotional in the porch. And it wasn't just any kind of emotional, it was emotional where it felt like family. And yeah.
I remember, so we were at VGH and it just hit me. Oh my goodness, what did I do? I left you guys at home alone, right? And staying home alone is not a big deal. You guys do it all the time. And I think you like it.
I do like it.
You like it.
I do like staying home alone, yeah.
The situation was so unique in that we had just moved to this house about a week and a half at the most before Dad's stroke. So the house was a mess. We had no food in the house because the plan was to go grocery shopping that night and stock up for back to school groceries and things like that. But of course we didn't have a chance to do that. But I remember I was at the VGH, I was in the lobby, and then it just hit me oh my goodness, I can't believe I left these kids at home alone. They must be so scared. And can you tell us what happened?
Well, next thing I know, I get a knock on the door. Our good friends, they come over and they here to comfort us. And our pastor, our college ministry pastor at that time also came, and we did a little time of prayer and fellowship and all that. And yeah, they comforted us essentially. They came.
They showed up.
They showed up.
They showed up with very little notice, and they didn't even know where we lived.
No, yeah.
We just moved.
Yeah.
But they somehow found their way here, and they stayed with you, and then they slept over too, right? They slept over. At what point did you know we're going to be okay? We're going to make it through this? Or do you?
That is a great question that I do want to answer. I don't think I still had that point. And I think, well, the life that I'm living now, I'm used to it. But it's less of we're going to be okay. It's we're going to persevere through this. That's the mindset I have. So that's why I never had we're going to be okay moments. I guess if that correlates, we're going to persevere through this and we're going to be okay, if that means the same thing to you, then it'll probably be, actually, I don't know. I don't know when I had that moment, but at one point, I was just confident. I'm actually not confident. And I don't think I will be, but it's just, I don't even know how to word this. I think it's just,
You can say it in Korean because I can always translate.
나 한국어로도 잘 안 나올 것 같아가지고.
Oh, okay. She said, I don't even think I can express myself in Korean.
We're gonna be okay. Oh, there was this one day that, like, recently I looked back on the birthday video I made for Dad. I don't know what. It might have been the wedding anniversary, because last year was our 25th wedding anniversary, or your 25th wedding anniversary. And then we filmed, like, videos, like, over there, like, just us dancing. And I think that moment, I felt like we were a family. And we're, like, the Hongs, like, the Hong family. So that's when I was like, okay, maybe we could get through this together. Like, it's not like we're gonna be okay, but we'll get through it, as we always did.
Good. I think for me, it was the morning after. It was on Tuesday morning. You were at school.
Yeah.
And the nurse said, yeah, he woke up. We took him off the vent, and they moved him up to ICU. You can come in now. And me and Jennifer just kind of tiptoed in, and then I called his name, and then, he just barely opened his eyes because, of course, he was just coming out of a coma. And then I said, can I have a thumbs up out of all the things that I could say to him? Like, are you okay? Or, I just said, can I have a thumbs up? And, we have that picture. You've seen that picture many times. Like, Dad just barely lifted up his little thumb there. Yeah. And then I knew, okay, you know what? We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. The fact that the first action or the first connection was, like a little thumbs up, like I knew, okay, he's still in there, right?
He's still there.
He's still there.
Yeah.
So the stroke has taken so much away, but the essence of who Dad is, he is still there. Yeah. And the fact that he can give me a thumbs up, the fact that he recognized us meant the world.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know what part of his brain was damaged, what deficits he would have. But the fact that, number one, he knew who we were and he tried to connect with us by giving a thumbs up. So for me, that was my personal, okay, we're going to make it through this. Are there any thoughts or feelings that you had on the first day or the first night?
The first day, first night, it still hasn't hit me then, and I do remember it clearly. It was just a lot of ups and downs. It was like, yeah, my dad's in the hospital. What the heck? Like, he was literally with us just this morning. Like, what the heck? But, like, my friends were here, so I was, like, laughing. I'm like, but at some point, I do remember myself, like, feeling guilty of laughing. Of, like, 근데, like, the situation hasn't changed. So it was just a lot of up and down, like, emotional roller coaster.
I know that I told you to go to school the next day.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure that a lot of people probably thought, why is she making her kids go to school the next day, right? Because this is, her dad's in a coma. He might not make it through the night. Surely school is not
the priority,
right? But I know for a fact that Dad would have wanted you to go. And I know that he was so proud of you. And he was so excited for you. Yeah. I know that he would not have wanted you to skip school and just sit in the waiting room with us for hours on end, right? So that's why I told you to go to school. But in hindsight, I realized, man, it must have been quite a day for you. It must have been so difficult for you. And you know what you just said a minute ago, I felt guilty for laughing. That unless you are in my position, right? Or unless someone is in your position, no one can judge how you react or respond to that. So if you break down and cry, if you have a fit, throw things, break things, if you're quiet, if you laugh, if you just get up and dance, no one can judge you. No one can question you. What's wrong with her? Why is she acting like that? So I don't think there's any need to feel guilt when it comes to any traumatic situation and how you respond to it. We've known from a very early age, when she was just a few years old, that she had very deep thoughts. So Bethany's a very deep thinker, and she articulates herself very well. She expresses herself very well, and she's not afraid to say what she thinks or say what she means. But we've always noticed at a very young age, wow, she's such a deep thinker. And so when she does say something out loud, it's usually like, whoa, where did that come from? You know, like that's so deep.
Yeah.
But I remember one event so clearly. It was with you, and I've actually told this story to a couple of people. And I think you're going to know what I'm talking about. It was a Thursday evening. So it was just 3 days after Dad's stroke. He was still in the hospital. You came home after school. So you were home maybe around 4 or 5. Jennifer, Justin, and I, we were still at the hospital. We came back in the evening around 6:30 and 7. But during that time that we were gone, people had showed up for us and just brought us so much food and groceries, and there was like a massive Costco grocery haul this year as well too. And I remember we walked in through that door, and you stood there, and you know, I could see past you. There was food, like groceries, all over the place, like on this counter, on that counter, on this table, because you didn't. It was just so much. You weren't able to put it away all by yourself, and you were just weeping. You were crying. And do you remember what you said to me?
What did I say?
And you said, Mom, why are we so blessed? Do you remember that?
I don't.
Wait, was that you?
No. I think I just said, Mom, we're so blessed. And I thought I said that in that tone, but maybe I like the way I actually delivered it was different, right, from what I think it was. And it has been literally a little past a year. So, yeah, I don't have a clear picture that you're drawing right now. But yeah.
But do you remember feeling that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
definitely.
where did that come from? Because your dad's in the hospital. He can't even talk. He can't even get up out of bed. And just the situation we were in, there were so many unknowns. So I always wanted to ask, where did that come from? Like, out of everything that you could say, where did you find it in you to say, why are we so blessed?
I think thinking back, it wasn't necessarily, I wasn't looking at Dad in the ICU. I was looking at the current situation in front of my eyes, like literally in front of my eyes. And like, I think I was home for most of the time anyone delivered something. I don't even know them, but they're like, are you doing okay? Like, are you well? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing fine. I was not fine, but yeah, I think it was just like, there was always positivity in the negative times. I think that's what I was focused on. Like, just the fact that we had food, like the bare necessities of living. Like, you know, even if Dad's in the ICU, like, just the fact that people came to, you know, bless us with their amazing food. Amazing food.
Yeah, really.
Like, I loved it. Like,
better than my food.
But like, because it's not easy for someone to just, I don't know, just make food for a family of 4 or 5, but like 4 people were literally eating. But like, we eat a lot, you know, like, it's not easy to having that heart. So I was like, I really appreciated their heart. I really appreciated their actions of like delivering it. And I was just like, we're really blessed.
Yeah. I've always, so it's very interesting the way you remember that event and the way I remember that event. But I think I'm going to keep my story.
Okay, yeah, I like that version better.
Because I really like it. I was so thankful. Thankful that that's what came out of your mouth. Not like, why are we in this situation? You know, like, this sucks. Life is so unfair. Like, you weren't saying anything negative. It was just, why are we so blessed? There was another thing that you said.
Okay.
So I remember when you say things, I remember.
Okay.
So we were standing right here, and I'm sure I was stressed out. I'm sure I was upset. I was crying. And you said to me, Mom, you are not in this alone. We're in the same boat.
I remember this very clearly. We were upstairs in your room.
No, we were right here. No, that wasn't me. That wasn't me.
Yes, that was you.
Maybe you said that to Jen.
Continue.
Okay, so
whatever.
Okay, anyways, you know what? Bygones. It doesn't matter what room of the house we were in, but it was you and it was me and it was in this house and it was in the context of just, stroke recovery and caregiving. And you said, Mom, you are not doing this alone. We are all in the same boat. Do you remember how I responded?
Yeah, you're like, you were crying. And I was
probably.
Okay, I was crying
every day.
So my stance of saying that was trying to comfort you. And like, I was trying to say, like, don't take on everything to yourself. You do have all three of us. And we're adults, or we're young adults. So we know, like, we'll be able to, like, toss some gym from your, like, shoulders, at least a little bit, right? That's what I wanted to say. Like, behind those words, that was my, like, stance, right? And I said that hoping that it would, like, comfort you in any sense.
And it did.
Okay. But, like, the response you gave me, you were like, you know what, Bethany? No, we're not on the same boat. We're not on the same boat. We're in the same ocean. You, Jennifer, and Justin are on a different boat from me. You're on a cruise ship while I'm in a little sailboat. You said that.
No.
Yes, you did.
Okay, wait a minute. So
yes,
I wrote it down.
Yes,
right?
you did.
So
you said that and saying like, and you were like, even if the waves hit, it hits harder for me because I'm on a smaller boat than all three of you guys are on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't comfort you. Just kidding.
No. So first of all, what you said was so well received.
I'm glad.
It was well received, right?
I'm glad,
And for you to comfort me, that means so much. But I think my response to it could have been, I think I in hindsight, I should have just said, thank you so much. I appreciate your support, right? But you know me.
And the state we're at, it was
I was a little sensitive at that time.
Me too.
And I wasn't sleeping all that well, right? And I ate really well, but I didn't sleep.
Right.
I actually wrote this down because I wanted to be very precise and I wanted to remember this. I said, no, we are not in the same boat. We're in the same ocean. You, Jen, and Justin are in the same boat, but I'm in a separate boat next to you guys. So that's what I thought I said. I don't remember the cruise ship part.
You don't remember the sailboat?
I don't remember that. But I felt like I was drowning, really.
Right.
I felt like I was in not even a sailboat. Sailboats are really nice. I felt like I was in like a little paddle boat that had holes all over.
Wait, I think you mentioned a paddle boat, actually.
I think I was in a paddle boat with holes and I had no paddles.
Yeah.
Right?
You said that.
And I didn't even have a life jacket. Like I had nothing. I was in like this beat up boat that was sinking. I felt like I was drowning.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to say that, you're on a luxury cruise.
Right.
That's not what I meant at all.
Okay.
But what I meant to say, and I wrote this down because I want to be very clear about this, is that, I'm as a parent, you are the children. And I think that any parent watching this would agree with me that our job is to protect you guys, and we don't want any harm to come to you. And of course, we can't protect you from everything, but life happens. But I didn't want you to take on this huge burden as a 17-year-old kid. Like you're very mature and you're very responsible for 17. But you are 17, and I didn't want you to grow up faster than you needed to, because I didn't think that was fair. But you know what? Life's not fair. But that was my heart. It made me so sad that all of you guys, Jennifer, Justin, and you included, and you being the youngest of the family, we always see you as being younger than you actually are. And that's natural because you are the baby of the family. We didn't want you to grow up, or I didn't want you to grow up faster than you needed to. So I didn't want you to take the burden that I had. I wanted to take care of it so that I can take care of you. But I'm learning. It's not easy. How would you describe dad? We haven't really talked about dad.
Yeah. Right. So
yeah.
Right. So this was about dad,
Yes,
I guess.
this was about
I
dad.
guess it all started from dad.
Yeah.
I would say he's my hero. Yeah. I feel like I'm gonna cry. But I know it's okay, I have some tissues here. But I think he's really strong. Yeah, he's really strong. He has really high self-esteem. I think a big part of it where I realized that was if I was in his position, if I was the leader of a family and I'm at such a vulnerable stage in just one day, 되게 like 자존심이 있었을 것 같아요. 저였으면은. 근데 아빠는 그 자존심 없이 되게 자존심 많이 버리고 like he goes to a lot of therapy. He's not like scared to reach out to us and like ask us questions. In that sense, he's really strong. He's always like hardworking. He's always trying to do his best, which just shows that he's really strong. Yeah, he has resilience.
Yes, definitely strong, definitely resilient. There's a new word that I learned. Can I teach it to you?
Oh yeah.
Like we don't use it very often, but it's called grit.
Oh
yeah,
grit.
Yeah.
He has grit. He has grit.
Definitely,
yeah.
He has grit.
He has
So he has that perseverance and that determination to push through during tough times. What is something that you miss most about your pre-stroke life? So 2022 and before that.
Surprisingly, I don't remember much. It's really surprising because I lived with pre-stroke dad for 17 years. It's only been 1 year since we lived with dad with a stroke, but there's no part that I like really miss because it would be one thing because before he showed a lot of like love to us, especially me.
Maybe too much
maybe too much love to me. But if he didn't do that after stroke, that would have been a different story. But I think he shows love in a more genuine way now. So I appreciate that more. Always been the dad and my dad, and he still is. It's just that just like the aphasia is there. And yeah, so I maybe if I had to pick, it would be like communicating with him. Yeah.
That's one thing I miss.
Yeah.
Just talking freely. I think it's the little things that we miss.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we're grieving that part of our lives that we no longer have before, but that we no longer have right now, but it's not to say that we can't get it again later, right? So, I mean, there's always hope, and it's only been 1 year. If there is anyone listening to this who is a child of a stroke survivor or a child of a parent who is suffering, either physically or mentally or in whatever capacity. So what would you say to them?
I would cry with them. It's tough. Although we may not be in the same boat.
But you're in the same ocean.
In the same ocean. Yeah. Although I may be on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
And, make it like, why not make a Disney cruise ship?
Disney
so like,
cruise
sure,
ship, okay.
make it luxurious and all that.
Yeah.
It will be tough. You will have a lot of hard times. Try to help out wherever you can. I know that's not always working for me, but try to help out because you might regret it. Yeah. Also, whatever happens, family is family. And don't forget that, because family, you're stuck with them. Like relationships come and go, except for family. I feel like family is just family, and it shouldn't be something that should be forgotten.
I would disagree with what you said earlier when you said something like, oh, I don't help out as much. You definitely do.
Oh, thank you.
You guys have all stepped up and shown up for the family above and beyond what I would have ever expected or wanted from you guys. And, you know, for you, like, you know, your nickname, what we called you when I was pregnant with you and we called you Precious.
Yeah.
So Precious was her nickname. That's what we called her when I was pregnant and for the first couple of years of her life. But your grandmother, my mom, she didn't call you Precious. She made up her own nickname for you.
Yeah.
Do you know what it was?
No.
행복이.
행복이. Yeah.
That came from her.
My 태명.
Yeah. No, but that wasn't, she just said,
oh, okay.
I'm going to call her 행복이, which means
happiness.
Yeah. And my mom was the only one in the world who called her that, just happiness. So she is someone who just brings joy and laughter and just, you know, brings happiness to the people around her. And I think that's one of the most powerful things that you did for Dad this past year in his recovery. Just made him happy. You made him laugh so many times, and laughter therapy is a real thing, right? And you showed up for him, and you were always there to help him. And so we really appreciate you, and we really missed you when you were gone. So Bethany had an opportunity to go to Florida this past summer, and she worked at Walt Disney World for 3 months. So she was gone for 3 months. This is the longest time she's been away from us. Can you tell us what that was like for you, just being away from the family for so long?
Like in terms of Dad's stroke, or just in general?
Just in general.
I had a blast.
Yeah.
I loved it. As much as I love family, at a young age, being able to live by yourself and having that, felt like dorm, like college life without school. Like it was such an amazing life that I lived, and I really do miss like living that life because I had so much freedom. It was fun. I had a blast. What can I say? I recommend that program if anyone's.
Well, I'm glad that you went. I'm glad you went, and I'm glad that you brought it up, because if you didn't tell us about it, we would not have known. But it was about a month after her dad came home from the hospital. We were sitting right there having dinner, and she just brought it up. Oh, hey, there's this cultural
exchange program
at Walt Disney World, and my professor brought it up, and you know, he said, if you're interested, then you know, you can apply. And I remember I said, wow, that sounds really interesting. Are you going to apply? And do you remember what you said?
No, I don't.
You said no.
Did I say no?
You said no. And I said, why wouldn't you apply? You don't want to do it. And you said, I just don't think this is the right time for me to leave the house right now because of what's going on with Dad. And do you remember what I said? What?
As a parent, we don't want to be anything that stops you from doing anything.
Nicely said.
Nicely said.
Yeah. But what I actually said was, and this is a line that I got from one of my favorite dramas, This Is Us. Do you remember This Is Us?
Yeah, of course I know,
And I know you don't know the storyline, but the mother, Rebecca Pearson, she had Alzheimer's, and she gathered her kids around the table. And these are all adult kids. They're in their 30s and 40s. And what she said to them was, I will not let you make your lives small because of my illness. So I think, and at the time when I saw that, I thought, wow, that's such a cool line. It's such a powerful line, but I didn't really get it. I just thought, what a great line, and she delivered it so well. But when this conversation came up, I got it. I actually got it, what it meant when I said to her, and I used that line, and I said, don't make your life small because of Dad. Don't make your life small because of me. So, and that's one of the ways that when I said we're not in the same boat, we're in the same ocean, but we're not in the same boat. You, Jennifer and Justin, you guys have your entire lives to live, and you have so many adventures and opportunities. Some are going to be good, some are going to be bad, right? But you have to go out and you have to live it. And I don't want you to put everything on hold and just stay home and take care of us. Because that's not your job. What we want you to do is go out there and be the very best that you can be. So that's why I wanted to bring that up. But I'm so proud of you for going on this trip. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say?
I hope. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
This was fun.
Talking.
This was actually
I like
fun.
it. I like it.
I think we should do more of this.
Yeah.
I want to get Jennifer and Justin on board. Yeah. But I want to get Dad. I
would love to see that. Oh my God, I'd love to see that. Yeah.
I would. So we'll figure it out somehow. We will figure it out so that we can get Joshua on and for him to share a little bit of his story too. Yeah. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.
Bye.